It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is StoryCon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories we're watching this Friday, the weekend, August 15. A Chinese Coast Guard vessel was spotted about 24 nautical miles off Manila Bay this morning. Maritime Transparency Initiative Sealight Maritime reported that the ship bearing bow number 3306 appears to be shadowing the Philippine Coast Guard's BLP Cape San Agustin, heading to Scarborough Shoal or Bajo de Masinloc. It's the same vessel that chased and fired water cannons at the BIFAR ship on August 11. Sealight founder Ray Powell said the move may have links to Monday's collision of Scarborough Shoal, but adds that this is not the first China Coast Guard sighting outside of Manila Bay.
The Foreign Affairs Department maintained that the Philippines is not responsible for the collision between a PLA Navy ship and a China Coast Guard vessel near Scarborough Shoal, as we were just saying. In a statement, DFA Secretary Tess Lazaro called the incident unfortunate but said it was not caused by any Philippine action. She reiterated in the meantime the Philippines' demand for compensation from China for damage to its vessels and equipment back in June 2024 and for the return of firearms, gear, and personal effects seized during that incident. The Judicial and Bar Council, or JBC, has officially released its list of applicants for the Ombudsman post, where Justice Secretary Boying Remulla remains included. Recent online reports had claimed that the DOJ chief was disqualified over a pending complaint at the Office of the Ombudsman. The case is supposedly related to the arrest and turnover of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the ICC last March. But there was no confirmation of the disqualification from JBC since.
Some senators are calling for an investigation into an incident involving alleged marijuana use inside the Senate. They're also pushing for the reinstatement of random drug testing for Senate employees. And the Ombudsman has recommended the filing of criminal charges against Bohol Governor Aris Aumentado and two former governors under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. That's over the controversial Captain Peak Resort controversy in Sagbayan's Chocolate Hills, where his structure encroached on the national treasure. For his part, Aumentado says his team will file a motion for reconsideration.
President Bongbong Marcos has expressed dismay over substandard government-funded projects in Bulacan and warned that contractors will be held accountable. The president went there today to inspect a flood mitigation project in Kalumpit, Bulacan. And the project, which started in 2021, required regular dredging. But during the inspection, he noted that patches of land forming small islets in the river indicated that the riverbed had not been properly deepened and caused frequent overflow. In Barangay Francis, Marcos inspected a river structure and was shocked to see that he could easily crush parts of the concrete with his hands.
Hawakan ninyo, sa kamay kayang durugin. Malabnaw yung semento na ginamit. Nagtipid sa semento. Sa kontrata, may desiltation, dredging, completed. Tignan naman ninyo, paano magiging completed yan? Tignan ninyo. May isla sa gitna. Tinutubuan na ng damo na napaka... Masukal na yan, yun.
Marcos also visited the River Protection Rehabilitation Project in Barangay Bulusan, Kalumpit. He stressed that the contractor, St. Timothy, must explain why the project was poorly executed. Based on Malacanang's records, Bulacan had the most number of flood control projects in the country over the past 3 years, totaling 668 and costing about 6.5 billion pesos, even though it's not officially listed as a flood-prone or amongst the most flood-prone provinces.
Kailangan pasagutin natin kung bakit ganitong ginawa nila. Mas mabuti pa, dapat pumunta sila rito, pakita nila gano'ng kahirap ang buhay na binigay nila sa mga kababayan natin. Ang kahirap. This has been going on for years. What possible excuse do they have for not doing this? Hindi ko maisip.
And joining us today, StoryCon's resident political heckler, Raul Llamas.
Good afternoon. A flood-free good afternoon.
Wow.
Ba't nabungismis ka naman?
Galit na galit yung presidente.
Nadudurog daw. Yung parang pulburon siguro, no?
Semento.
Parang pulburon.
Yung kasama niya yung governor, di ba? Yung Bulacan.
I don't even know how to react to that.
Daniel Fernando ba yung kasama niya?
Scorpio Knights. Bakit?
And from the
Sorry, hindi
Philippine
ko napanood
Star,
yun.
Kwento
Editor-in-Chief
lang dyan.
Ami Pamintuan.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Siyempre, alam ni Ed ko na yung Scorpio Nights.
Hindi, kasi Scorpio ako eh. November ako pinanganak eh. Yun lang yung dahilan nun eh.
Hindi alam ni Red Sean, paki-explain ka nga.
Alam mo, Reg,
I've heard of it. It's a movie, right?
bakit alam niya?
Narinig ko na yun.
Parang natin sa governor ng Bulacan. Katabi yata ni Presidente kanina.
Can we roll the footage again? Tingnan nga natin. Was that Governor
Hindi siya
Daniel?
makareact, ano? Hindi makareact si Governor.
Oo nga. Oo nga. So again, Bulacan topped the list, the president's list of provinces that got the most number of flood control projects over the last 3 years. Pero wala siya dun sa listahan of the
Most,
top 10
flood-prone.
most flood-prone provinces. So there is a big discrepancy there.
Kayo
It
naman
got
kasi
over,
naghahanap pa kayo ng
over
ng kwan?
660
Binigyan na nga ng
projects.
flood control projects, naghahanap pa kayo ng floods.
Naghahanap pa kami ng flood.
Yung ano
Siya ba yan?
yung nabanggit na St. Timothy, yung contractor,
Yeah.
that was incorporated in part by the Diskaya family. Although Diskaya, Sam
Yes.
Diskaya would later say na they've divested from that company
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Parang lahat nag-divest eh.
I don't know how to
Kasi
answer
you also
that.
remember, di ba, St. Gerard is in the top, up there.
Hindi,
sa
St.
list.
Timothy. Yung St. Gerard wala sa list. Pero
Okay.
St. Timothy
Ay, sorry.
is.
This the
Saint
other,
Timothy yung nasa list.
Yes.
What's the other, there's another company
Alpha
there.
and Omega.
Alpha and Omega.
Alpha and
Yeah.
Omega.
Si Daniel Fernando, tumanda na rin, no? Hindi
Siya
na
ba
siya
yan?
yung, hindi na siya, siya yan.
Hindi siya makareact, ano?
Okay. So Daniel Fernando came on our morning show a few days ago and he famously said, nagulat din ako sa number of allocations that his province got.
Na parang hindi niya alam.
At the very least,
Secretary ba yung-
at the very least kasi dapat alam ng governor.
At the very least,
At the
yes.
very least.
Even if hindi niya alam exactly, for instance, whether natatapos yung projects, which ones are ghosts, which ones are, at the very least, dumadaan pa rin yan in the office of the governor. But
Yes.
anyways, I was telling Ed kanina, may nakausap akong contractor who happened to have bidded for a project in Bulacan, and what she told me was more or less the same as what we're finding out now, which is maraming ang ghost projects. But the thing that the person that we need to start questioning really is the Bulacan district engineer. Because ultimately, sila nag-audit, sila yung pupunta sa project site to say, okay, nag-approve ng project inspection, nagbibigay ng permit, nag-audit afterwards to say, yes, this was completed. So that's all DPWH, right?
Kaya kung may problema,
District-
kasama sila. Ganun ba?
Well, I'm just trying to
Kung
connect the
parang
dots here,
nagpo-produce ng
right?
simento,
Because
DPWH yun.
yes, so at
Di
this
ba?
point, everyone is saying, okay, wala kaming kinalaman dyan. People are starting to point fingers at each other. But a logical first place to start is with the person who approved,
Well,
who inspected these
The people
projects.
who bid out the project and the people who say, yes, the project was completed.
Di ba
Kaya
pag,
nga,
Yeah,
sila yung
same guy,
sign
yeah.
off. The district engineer is the one. And the project engineer is also the one who goes there to the site and says, okay, tapos na to, we move on. Or, oh, wala naman palang project here. Oh, or the materials were
Nawala ako.
substandard. Right? So,
di ba pag ghost project, dapat ghost din yung gumawa?
ganun ba yun? Does it follow?
Di ba yun ang logic na?
Sa dalawang to, Biyernes na nga.
Diyan sabi ni Ping Lacson ng isang araw,
May
di ba?
baliktad
Budget
eh.
yun.
Merong double ghost, di ba?
Oo.
Yung ginawa partly nung nakaraang budget cycle, tapos ngayon ay ghost, pero i-claim nila ay nagawa na.
So,
Yes.
so ano sila ngayon? Ghostbuster.
Oh my God.
At least hindi,
Weekend, pabayaan mo na, weekend na. Medyo pasayad na. Pasayad na yung humor.
Ubus na yung brain cell.
Mag-replenish siya over the
at least
weekend.
hindi na kubeta pinupunta ngayon ng presidente, di ba? O, ano na, talagang direktang flood
Tinan mo,
control
puro
project.
water lily
Puro water
yung
lily.
ilog.
Sabi nga niya, parang masukal na yung lugar.
Oo.
Eh.
Meron
Pero
din.
ang daming ganyan. Hindi lang yan sa ilog na yan. Ang daming ganyan. Tapos, ang lalabas, ghost yung gumawa. Pero walang mahuhuli. Gets mo?
Oo. And That's the problem here because now we're talking a big game about accountability and holding people responsible. Pero meron nga bang ma-prosecute here? In relation to that, meron din isang resident na sumulat kay President Marcos he or she is from Kalumpit, Bulacan, detailing all of these problems with the dikes, with the dredging, with the
Kalumpit, bahain ng Kalumpit,
waste
ha?
management.
Parang Hagonoy yan.
Yes, yes.
Parating
Agonoy
Hagonoy.
tsaka Kalumpit. Lagi
Yeah.
na. Matagal yan bago bumaba ang tubig.
Oo, mga tao dyan nasasayan ng tumira sa,
So,
sa
ang
tubig.
sinasabi mo, Reg, yung isumbong mo sa Pangulo is working.
That's
May
what
nagsusumbong
it looks like, di ba?
Yan ang sabi ni Ping
Yeah.
Lacson, di ba?
Oo.
May
Kahapon.
nagsusumbong.
Oo.
Oo.
Ang dami-dami daw niyang nakuhan tip doon sa, sa isumbong sa Pangulo.
Yes. And it's made his work easier, di ba? Sabi niya. And then
Ay, baka may mga kilala kayo kasi may kasama kami dito. She reported as well.
Yes.
Nireklamo niya yung flood control project sa kanila. Nakita niya, nandun nga, naka-post, saka it's anonymous ha. So protected kayo. So kung meron kayong problema, pwede nyo nga ilagay doon. Saka later mag-expand to kasi tandaan nyo, hindi lang naman yung mga simento sa flood control na nagdi-disintegrate. Yung mga kalye natin, di ba, konting ulan tunaw na
Parang pulburon
Puro
din.
pothole na tayo.
Yun
Puro
yung dati pa.
pothole na tayo, konting ulan lang.
Dati pa nagdi-disintegrate
yan.
yun. Manipis na
Oo.
manipis na simento.
Nipis-nipis. Hindi sinasadya nila para paulit-ulit.
Correct.
Pwede naman kahit manipis matibay Pero talaga sinasadya nila na mali yung pagkagawa, kulang sa heat, para pag-ulan, tunaw, konti, bagong kontrata na naman.
meron din, so we're showing footage of the inspection this morning. Ang hindi natin na capture is yung, they also brought divers to Kalumpit, Bulacan. Etong divers na to, I'm not exactly sure. The technicalities are a bit hazy to me. Pero parang they found na natabunan ng makapal na silt ang mga padera sa ilalim ng concrete slope protection.
So si Vince Dizon involved na rin sa flood control.
Yun na nga, I was just wondering
Oh,
about
paano?
that.
Hindi DPWH ang kasama ni Presidente.
Yeah.
Si Vince Dizon
Yeah.
No?
That's what I thought when I saw the pictures. Bakit si Transport Sec Dizon ang nandyan and not Secretary Bonoan, right? Okay. Anyways, let's pivot and talk about the other big issue, the other big collision,
Ibang tubig naman.
ibang tubig, over in the West Philippine Sea where there was a collision between the two Chinese vessels. Let's bring in our guest for today. We've got former Navy Rear Admiral Romel Jude Ong, maritime security expert. Good afternoon, Admiral. Good to see you again.
Good afternoon, Admiral.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, Admiral.
Long time no see.
Sir, can you hear us?
Nawala yata. Wala pa yata siya.
Baka
Hello.
You there?
Inahak ng
Ayan na,
China.
ayan na.
We can hear you
Okay.
now. Can you hear,
Hi,
sir?
Admiral.
Magandang hapon, Sec Ronald, Ami, Ed, and Raiwan.
Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, sir. Go.
Go ahead.
Sir, okay. Going back to yung nangyari nung August 11, yung collision between the Chinese Coast Guard and the Chinese Navy. It's not that often that we have the Chinese Navy talagang bumabandera doon sa kalagitnaan ng mga confrontations natin. Typically, you'd have them over the horizon, just shadowing us. Ngayon, pumapasok na at nakikipag-gitgitan. How unusual is that? Is that a point of concern?
So Ed, natutuwa ka ba na nagbungguan sila?
Hindi ko sinabi yun. Nag-ibig ka naman.
Well, number one, tama ka, Ed. That is the first time na hindi naka-over the horizon na overwatch yung PLP. They were actively participating in the harassment ng ating Philippine Coast Guard. So that in itself is an unusual event. Now, yung circumstances leading to that, hindi natin alam yon. Sila sa kabilang partido yung more or less nakakaalam kung bakit nila ginawa yon. Pero ang nakita ko lang dito, medyo maaring hindi kabisado nung PLA Navy vessel, yung galaw o yung taktika na ini-employ ng Chinese Coast Guard. Kaya nahantong sila rin sa bungguan nila sa dagat.
Admiral, I wonder if you could explain to our viewers yung tinatawag nilang white versus white concept and why that's important.
Well, that that is an offshoot of yung naratibo na create noong 2012 ng Scarborough Shoal standoff. Parang there was sort of a discernment na one way of the escalation doon sa situation sa West Philippine Sea is kung ang katapat natin ay yung Coast Guard, ang kaharap natin ay yung Chinese Coast Guard, pagtapat natin yung Philippine Coast Guard natin. Kasi white on white because yung kulay ng barko natin pareho ay kulay puti. In a way, that is, kumbaga, that frames yung engagement. So parang ito yung de-escalatory in nature yung ganyan taktika.
Para lang Admiral sa ating mga tigapakinig. Kailangan natin ipaliwanag na yung Coast Guard natin ay under ng ating civilian government at yung Coast Guard nila under ng kanilang defense establishment. Ibig sabihin,
Military
yung
command.
kanilang Coast Guard.
Tama po yun, Sec Ronald, no? Yung kanilang, yung Chinese Coast Guard operates under the People's Liberation Army. Now, specifically dito sa South China Sea, they fall under the Southern Theater Command. This is a joint command ng PLA that is responsible for operations dito sa South China Sea. Sa atin naman po, ang Philippine Coast Guard natin ay nakapapaloob sa ating Department of Transportation.
DOTR.
While of course yung Navy natin is under the Armed Forces or under Department of National Defense.
So, in short, the fact that yung Navy nila was, which is a gray ship, as we were just saying, ito yung white versus white, it's a warship, was aggressively in pursuit of our Philippine Coast Guard, a white vessel, is serious.
Well, it is serious because this is the first time we encounter it and yung consequence was of course very obvious, no? It could have been yung Philippine Coast Guard natin yung nabunggo nila. Kung mali lang, kung hindi lang nagkataon maganda yung diskarte ng ating kapitan ng ating Philippine Coast Guard, maring siya yung nabunggo nito. Pag dideploy natin ng ating barko, be it Navy o Coast Guard, it operates under what we call a rules of engagement. That is for the Navy, no? But for the Coast Guard, which is under civilian control, we call it the rules on use of force. Medyo semantics, no? But may difference yun. The ROE is employed by military organizations. RUUF is employed by law enforcement organizations. Now, hindi natin dito sa kabilang partido naman, since they operate under everything operates under the PLA, they operate under rules of engagement. So dito, first time that we observed that they've broken yung ROE nila and they have actually employed People's Liberation Army Navy in pursuit of our Philippine Coast Guard vessel.
Admiral, to clarify,
Admiral,
hinahabol
yung
ng...
Coast Guard nila, it's operating under the gray zone tactics nila, no? Saka, pero actually, they are authorized. Ang Coast Guard ng China is authorized to engage even in combat operations. Pero nevertheless, gray zone pa rin yan. Pero yung Navy talaga, military na yan Kung sakasakala yung Navy nila, ang mag-ano sa atin, halimbawa, hinarang yung barko natin at nadisgrasya tayo, wag naman sana, will that trigger the Mutual Defense Treaty with the US? Kung Navy na nila.
2 points lang, no, doon sa question mo, i-deconstruct ko lang. Number one, hindi ako advocate ng gray zone kasi I think that is a very deceptive tactical concept. No? I use yung lente ng Navy which is sea control. Whether they use militia vessel, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel, or a People's Liberation Army Navy vessel, it is still sea control. Ibig sabihin,
Wala.
Sir, I think we lost
Nawala
you.
yat. Na-cut off si Admiral.
Okay, we'll try to get Admiral Ong back.
Tanong lang natin mamaya kay
Yun na,
Admiral.
bumalik na.
Kung talaga bang nagbungguan yung Chinese Coast Guard at saka Chinese Navy habang tinutugis yung ating Philippine Coast Guard? Medyo confusing yung balita Na kaya sila nagkabunggo dahil hinahabol yung ating Coast Guard.
Which seems to be...
Saka na-confuse.
Ha?
Saka na-confuse dun.
Ano?
Saka na-confuse.
Dahil Ang dali kasi habulin ng ating Coast Guard. Lalo na kung,
Hindi,
No.
maliit.
Lalo na kung
Makulit-
I
makulit
have
ano
to
eh.
I have
Kung PLA,
to disagree.
Hindi.
Magaling ang crew.
Hindi, kung Chinese Navy, mabilis yun.
Yes, but
Pang,
mabilis din ang
hindi, walang laban tayo sa bilis doon.
No, but they're magaling sila mag-maneuver.
Oo.
I've been on the BRP Sindangan and the captain there demonstrated to us how nimble they have to be to turn, right? Pag hinahabol sila. And also we're already getting reports from Taiwanese media claiming that there were Coast Guard deaths on the China Coast Guard vessel, which we still need to confirm.
Is he back? Admiral Ong, are you back?
Dito, Ed, pasensya na.
Very good,
Yes,
sir.
Admiral.
Admiral,
Okay.
tanong lang namin kanina kung nung nagbungguan yung Chinese Coast Guard at saka Chinese Navy, nasa gitna ba sila ng pagtugis dun sa Philippine Coast Guard vessel?
The way I that described and i-report sa media, parang ang ginagawa nila is pincer movement, no? So kinikita nila yung Philippine Coast Guard vessel para maipagkita siya at mai-control yung movement niya. Now, ang nangyayari, parang yung PLA Navy vessel is supposed to block yung Coast Guard vessel natin from the starboard side o sa right side. Then yung Chinese Coast Guard vessel is supposed to water cannon yung Coast Guard vessel natin. I would presume that at some point, ang objective nun is yung didikit yung PLA Navy vessel para ma-force yung Coast Guard vessel natin dumikit doon sa Coast Guard vessel nila.
Sa video kasi magkadikit yung tatlo eh. Ating Coast Guard vessel, tsaka yung Navy, People's Liberation Army Navy, at tsaka yung Chinese Coast Guard. Ayun, dangerously close to each other.
Ang tingin ko rito, Sec. Ronald, nag-miscalculate yung kapitan ng barko ng People's Liberation Army Navy sa maneuver niya. Hindi niya na-arrest yung movement niya. At of course, maganda yung ginawa nung nung Philippine Coast Guard vessel para i-evade yung kanyang pag-force, yung galaw ng PLA Navy vessel.
So Admiral, matitrigger ba yung Mutual Defense Treaty? Balikan ko lang yung tanong ko kanina.
Okay, yung
Kung
MDT,
sakasakalan yung Navy.
based sa prevailing discussion conversation between the US at yung Pilipinas, any government vessel natin, be it Navy o Coast Guard, involved in an incident, let's say, that would cause physical harm to yung crew, or let's say destruction or physical damage ng vessel, will trigger the MDT under yung Article 4.
Even,
Kapag
sir,
military, di ba? Kapag military ng China,
Immaterial yung China side eh. Ang trigger niya is yung sa side natin. So any government vessel natin, be it Navy, Coast Guard, or even yung Bureau of Fisheries vessel, which are all designated as government vessel, kung nadehado yun sa dagat, karoon ng damage, or may nasaktan na crew natin of any of those three agencies, that will trigger MDT.
sir, it does not have to be through the use of weapons, ganun ba? That's immaterial whether you use weapons or anything else?
Because for a time we were debating armed attack. What
armed attack
constitutes
or not,
armed attack?
yeah.
Hindi na ang pagkakaintindi ko, it's not the instrument or the tools used, but rather the outcome o yung effect.
Damage.
Oo. Kasi for I think yung Chinese Coast Guard vessel na ginamit nila, yung 3104, is an ex-PLA Navy vessel. So to all intents and purposes, it's a warship that they just painted it white, then nilagyan ng stripe ng Coast Guard nila. And most likely, yung crew niyan are still Navy or ex-Navy personnel na tinransfer sa Philippine Coast Guard nila. So, kung meron man civilian, quote-unquote, civilian yung nature ng Coast Guard nila vessel, it's very superficial.
Pero sir, yun nga sir, you obviously have a change in strategy or maybe tactics would be more appropriate here. Ngayon the Chinese Navy is directly involved, at least in this case, sa paghahara sa mga vessels natin. Is this any reason for concern on our part? Are they escalating?
As of now, in the absence of clear information, I would treat it muna as an isolated incident na nag-miscalculate yung kapitan ng barko ng Navy vessel nila. Unless we see a repetition of this type of tactic in succeeding incidents in the future, then we can treat it as an isolated incident for the time. But it doesn't mean na magre-relax tayo.
Yes,
We
sir.
may have to look at we have to consider some contingency planning of our own para to check if we may need to adjust. It doesn't mean na pag nag-review tayo ng ng konsepto ng pag-operate sa West Philippines ay i-escalate natin yung situation. Ang sinasabi ko lang naman, wala namang masama kung nagpe-prepare ka at meron kang contingency for incidents na kung sakali man magkaroon ng escalation in the future.
Ay, sir, kasi yun nga sabi nga natin kanina, before the Navy would stay over the horizon. Now, at least in this incident, they're just over the bow or over the stern. Striking distance.
Tsaka Admiral, in relation sa tanong ni Ed, merong dumating na 2 American battleships dyan sa area. Hindi rin ganun kadalas na nangyayari yon sa Scarborough?
Ang tingin ko coincidence yun. Most likely yung dalawang US Navy vessel was already in the vicinity of Luzon Sea. Okay? Nakapasok na sila. So most likely they have a scheduled FONOPS or Freedom of Navigation patrol within the South China Sea. Then nire-route siya sa vicinity na Scarborough Shoal for the purpose of, I would presume sa pananaw ng Amerika, their presence would sort of de-escalate yung situation doon sa Scarborough Shoal.
So hindi totoo yung spin ng Chinese government na dinrive away nila yung isang US battleship sa Scarborough. It's just a spin.
No,
Oh.
consistent naman yung ganyang narratibo, yung propaganda line naman They use that for every FONOP for FONOPS o Freedom of Navigation Patrol ng US Navy in any areas o any within the South China Sea. Laging gano'n naman yung narratibo nila. The FONOP, though it was a transit na patrol doon sa vicinity na Scarborough Shoal.
Saka dininay na yun ng US government. Ang yung latest ngayon, Admiral, masyadong napapalapit na yata yung China Coast Guard doon dito sa nasa Manila Bay na sila. Ano bang appropriate measure na pwedeng gawin natin para hindi maulit siyang ganyan? Masyado na silang malapit sa atin.
Ang napansin ko lang, Ami, kasi ito medyo nag-increase yung tempo nila, tapos
Yes.
lumalapit sila when we pass the maritime zones law. Parang ito yung response nila dun sa remember, challenge nila yung law na yun nung pinasa
Yes.
at pinablish, di ba? Tapos nag-create din sila parang sarili nilang baseline around Scarborough Shoal, which actually because of that, nag-increase din yung tempo or yung presence nila around Scarborough Shoal. Medyo naghigpit sila. So ito, ang nakita ko rito is parang may pinasa tayong batas na kontra sila. So ang ginawa nila, in-increase nila yung puwersa para testingin, sige nga, may batas kayong bago, tingnan ko kung kaya nyo enforce yan. Okay, so ang baliktad naman na sitwasyon doon is, pag gumawa tayo ng batas, dapat kasama doon is yung pag-enforce ng batas na yon.
Okay, kailangan maproteksyonan natin yung kiniklaim natin.
Correct, Ami. Tapos yung sa Manila Bay, hindi pwede kasi para nangyari, parang reactive or responsive lang tayo. Yung pag lumabas yung barko natin, isa-shadow nila. Ang akin ganun, bakit hindi na lang tayo yung mag-shadow sa kanila?
Admiral, yung isang Chinese maritime expert, sinabi niya na dapat daw tayo magbayad dun sa damage dito sa collision ng Chinese Coast Guard at saka Chinese Navy. Dahil hindi daw ito mangyayari kung hindi tayo
Why are you
nang
even
gugulo.
listening to them?
Na hindi tayo nang gugulo sa Scarborough. Hindi, medyo,
Napaka-heckler talaga.
medyo nakakatawa kasi na tayo magbabayad. Lumabas sa Global Times na kailangan daw tayo magbayad doon sa damage. Hindi ka ba natawa?
Napaka-far-fetched naman yung claim na yun. But,
We do recall last year, di ba? Yung rubber boots natin, sinira niya. Tapos one of our special operations forces
Naputol
was
yung daliri.
injured. Oh.
yeah, that's what DFA Sec Lazaro was pointing at, right? They haven't even compensated us
And they
for that.
confiscated our
they
equipment
confiscated
and
the
our firearms. Ano pa siya?
Sorry, let me pivot, Sir Admiral. We're seeing online that some Taiwanese media are saying that may namatay na Chinese Coast Guard crew members. What do you know about this?
So far, wala akong report na validating that. Ang narinig ko lang at dalawa, I think, or tatlo. Also from the media. So,
Yeah.
pero it most likely considering na ang tinamaan yung ba.
Tsaka durog eh. Hello, sir. Are you still there?
Nawala.
Nawala. Nawala.
Naputol ata, naputol.
Tinamaan.
Tsaka durog
Hindi,
eh.
siya yung
And
naputol.
you could see the figures on the bow just before the collision. May mga tao sa bow eh. Naghahanda sila ng yung parang fender yung tawag nila eh, yung mga bumpers na ano.
Hindi si Manny Mogator.
Hindi, si Manny Mogator. Si Manny is a built-in fender eh.
Ano to? Mamaya tumalsik.
Ouch. May built-in
Pero
fender.
tawa talaga ako ng tawa dun sa maritime expert, Chinese maritime expert na sinisingil tayo.
Eh, yung Global Times naman, ano yan eh. Ang mouthpiece siya ng gobyerno nila.
Pero ano kaya nangyari sa
Yung-
mga kapitan? Ano pag may ganyang klaseng embarrassment kasi yung mga leaders na nawawala na lang.
Oh.
I was listening to Ray Powell's podcast. Sir, andyan pa ba kayo? Or is he back or no?
Nawala siya.
Nawala. May
Nawala siya.
podcast si Ray Powell about this collision. Ang sabi niya, in all likelihood, the captains of these two ships will just quietly disappear. Not implying that there'll be any harm will come to them, pero they'll probably be exiled somewhere.
Bumabalik si Admiral.
Embarrassment.
Kasi it's a
Baka
major
nandyan na
embarrassment.
ulit.
Sir, andyan po kayo?
Hi, Admiral.
Na medyo mahirap pa na.
Yes, sir.
Ayan
Yes, sir.
na siya ulit.
Sir, pasingit ako ng isa. Kasi there are people who are also concerned na after this collision, one of two things could happen and they're on other side of the they are on other side of the spectrum. On one hand, maaring mas mag-ingat yung China because of what happened sa collision na ito, or on the other hand, China might become more aggressive because this is a loss of face and it is an embarrassment. So what do you think? What do you think will happen here? Will it swing to one side or the other, or somewhere in between?
To cover up their epic fail.
It could happen both ways, Ed. Yung parehong scenario will be forthcoming. Number one, if you remember, nung June 17 incident last year, dito sa Second Thomas Shoal, nag-recalibrate sila ron doon sa Second Thomas Shoal. So medyo nag-tone down. So dito, maaaring mag-tone down sila kasi they will need to review yung incident at it may require a change in tactics, no? Baka ang mangyari dito, pull out na nila yung Navy, hindi nila uulitin yun. Na yung employing yung Navy vessel nila for harassment tactics sa ating mga vessel. So that may happen. But pwede rin hahanap sila ng ng butas para mag-escalate din. So most likely we will see once medyo naka-readjust yan sila doon sa nila. It may come in several forms. It can be diplomatic yung nila, yung form of harassment. Or it may be an increase of harassment sa fisher folks natin doon sa Scarborough Shoal. Or it can be an increase, theater-wide increase of harassment not only in Scarborough Shoal but also dito sa Kalayaan Island Group sa Palawan. So it can
Okay.
Wala.
Naputol tata. Baka ano?
Naputol ulit.
Baka mobile siya.
Baka nasa Scarborough.
West Philippine Sea.
Or baka nandun sa
Baka
ilog.
nag-i-inspect.
Sa ilog
Sa
na
Bulacan.
i-inspect.
Kayo talaga, mobile! Mga naiisip ninyo eh.
Ang lalim kasi ng ilog sa Bulacan.
Ang gulong dalawang to. Buti ako behave mo.
Excuse me.
Kung bumaba sa
lump me in
Bulacan,
the same
nagbabangka
bucket as
mga
well.
ano ron, ha? Mga tao ron.
Or healthy yung worms.
Well, that's interesting ha. So, they could swing either way or they could
Oo.
swing both ways pag ganun ganon.
Hindi, sa Kwan kasi, sa Scarborough, walang agreement eh. Kaya tatanong ko sana kay Admiral, sa Ayungin
Yeah.
ba, is the agreement non-agreement?
Yan, nawala siya
Ano?
ulit.
The agreement and agreement dahil,
Dahil
we've
wala daw
never
agreement
seen
eh.
it.
Nawala
We've
siya
never-
ulit.
May agreement daw sila pero we've
Pero
never
wala
seen
daw.
the
oo.
text.
So, nag-hold ba yung agreement na non-agreement sa Ayungin? Parang sa Scarborough, walang agreement talaga eh. Diba?
Wala.
Kaya nga, mayroong
Ayan,
mga
bumalik ulit
incidents
si Admiral.
Tembok, bumalik si Admiral.
Admiral?
Bumalik siya
Tanong
ulit.
muna kung ano yung text ng agreement ng Ayungin.
Hi,
Until
Admiral.
now, we don't know what it's...
Admiral?
Ay,
Admiral?
Hello, good afternoon. Makapot pa siya hello.
Oh, ayan na, ayan na.
Admiral?
Yes, Tech Ronald.
Andyan na siya ulit.
Yung on another note, tinatanong namin kanina kung yung agreement, non-agreement sa Ayungin, is it holding? Dahil sa Scarborough kasi wala kasing agreement eh. Pero doon sa Ayungin ay merong agreement na non-agreement dahil wala pa naman nakakakita nung agreement.
Nag-agree sila na...
Nag-agree sila na
hindi na
Verbal
makikita.
agreement siya.
is it
According
holding?
to yung, yung mga nakausap ko from the inside, nag-hold naman yung agreement, yung non-agreement doon sa second promotion.
Oo.
So it's holding.
Yes, yes. At saka kasi, Tech Ronald, nawala na yung pressure sa China side para ituloy pa rin nila yung harassment sa Sierra Madre.
BRP Sierra Madre.
Kasi nai-repair na yung Sierra Madre. So wala na silang dahilan para mangharas pa ng supply vessels natin.
So sila, Ed Lingao, pwede na uling mag-convoy doon. At aabot na sila sa BRP Sierra Madre. Last time kasi bumalik kayo, di ba?
Huwag na paalala.
Umikot,
Pwede na, Ed. Pwede na kayo ikaw bumalik doon.
Yung rubber boat na lang.
di ba? Freedom to broadcast pa yung kanya doon.
So that's what it took, sir. That's what it took. Matapos lahat para maging moot na yung yung argument as to whether or not we should be allowed to repair. Kasi na-repair na nga.
Kasi ang rationale nila ron is if they can prevent us from repairing Sierra Madre, babagsak na lang yun ang kusa,
Yeah.
then they can take over.
So we're confident that it's not gonna fall apart anytime soon.
Ang narinig ko, may 10 years pa yun.
10 years.
Tatagal pa ng 10 years.
So naman 10 years.
what's your best guess, Admiral? Why all this attention on the Sandy case? Parang, I guess nag-move
Sandy
away na
Cay
from
1 to 3,
Ayungin, no? Parang nandito sa may area ng Sandy case
Pag-asa.
yung attention.
Pag-asa area.
Rina, ganito, no? If I look at it as one theater of operation, so yung buong West Philippines natin, may kanya-kanyang dynamic yan. But essentially, they still want to control the entire West Philippine Sea. Kaya lang, kung i-parcel out natin by feature, sa Sandy Cay, iba yung issue doon. I think ang trigger doon was yung activities natin doon to actually check yung environmental impact ng presence nila doon sa Sandy Cay. So because we deploy vessels doon, I think research vessel o yung BIMPAR, so that triggered yung response nila to prevent us from actually conducting yung activities natin doon sa Sandy Cay. So kung titignan mo naman sa Sabina, one incident doon was when we deployed yung BRP Teresa Magbanwa doon for an extended period for several months. So that is a different trigger.
Admiral, sabi nyo, kung magkiklaim tayo, we should be able to defend whatever we're claiming. Lumalakas na ba yung capability natin sa tingin ninyo? Nagkakaroon na ba tayo ng credible defense capability? Ang tagal ko na naririnig ang phrase na yun.
Hindi ganun kabilis yun, hindi ganun kadali yun eh. Parang pag sinabi mo ngayong araw, bukas hindi naman mangyayari yun eh. So marami pang dapat gawin.
Okay,
Tapos mukhang maliit lang yung budget na binigay sa Armed Forces for Modernization.
oo nga eh. So I was gonna go to that. So to follow up on Ami's question, so for 2026, Malacanang is only proposing 40 billion no for the Armed Forces modernization. Ito yung programmed funds. Di pa natin alam yung unprogrammed. What did you think of that?
Number one, hindi ko nakita yung Re-Horizon list. So we're just guessing here no kung ano yung nalaman yung force package involved na imo-modernize, no. But given na itong yung pagtitipid o yung kakulangan ng resources for defense, I think it forces us now to rethink yung ano ba yung equipment na bibili natin. Kasi my point is there are things that hindi naman kailangan mahal yung equipment na bibili natin. May tinatawag yan sa Navy na yung high-low. You have high intensity, very expensive platforms of vessel for very specific missions. But you also have low intensity or yung less expensive equipment for yung day-to-day use mo. So, maaaring we need to be more creative in terms of yung yung force planning ng Armed Forces.
So, Admiral, open ba kayo na udyukin natin yung ating mga senador na magpasok ng insertions para sa ating defense budget?
Oo, parang flood control, project nila
Baka
yun.
mapunta sa defense yung mga...
Divert nga.
Baka kung saan mapunta yan, ang insertion na yan na naman.
No, because I mean, on the one hand, they're proposing 40 billion, but on the other hand, they're also talking about marami pang kailangan bilhin, right? They're talking about the
Missile
BrahMos,
system.
the BrahMos missile system. Meron pa yung Typhoon. They want potentially another one. So parang there's a bit of a big disconnect there.
Baka kailangan natin i-develop, Admiral, yung ating drone industry. Paano hindi masyadong expensive ang drone, at the same time, mas efficient. Katulad na nangyayari ngayon sa Ukraine.
Well, number one, yung point for Ihina, I will make it more complicated for you. Kasi yung 40 billion na yun, yung iba ron, multi-year payment eh. Ibig sabihin, pambayad natin sa ibang equipment na na-acquire na years before.
Yeah.
Kaya lang, hindi yung may transit yung pagbayad. So, hindi lahat yung 40 billion na yung papasok to new acquisition, but rather loan payment of loan
Or
D2G payment.
or even amortization for the equipment that we took in the past.
Yes,
Yes.
correct. Now, for yung drone, tama po yun, Tech Ronald. In fact, that is one of the asymmetric solutions that we should consider. Kasi kung para dito lang sa yung for example, yung Chinese Coast Guard at yung militia vessel, medyo magastos kung BrahMos ang gagamitin mo ron. Kasi BrahMos is a very expensive system. So you have to look for, ang tinatawag natin, you have to look for cheaper asymmetric solution. And drone is one thing. But instead of buying drones, I would agree na dapat dito na gawin drone factory na para
Yes.
ma-address yung supply chain issue. Hindi na ikaw aasa sa ibang countries, kumbaga dito na mismo gagawin para isupply natin ng private sector natin, ng industry, sa armed forces, yung requirements nila.
Employment generation pa.
Pero Admiral, marami na ring drone ng China eh. Advanced na rin
Yeah.
sila dyan.
They're very advanced.
Pero Ami, yun ang naging labanan sa Russia dahil hindi nila advanced na rin yung Russia, namimili siya all over the place, Turkey, Iran, at saka sa China. Ang ginawa ng Ukraine, gumawa sila ng local drone industry nila. Kaya kahit papano, may defensive capability sila. Kahit papano.
But let me zoom out a bit, Admiral. Kasi si Admiral, I bumped into him at the Strat-Base Forum a few days ago, wherein two of the speakers from the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank in the U.S. that works with U.S. Congress to decide on U.S. defense policy. There were two speakers there from the Heritage Foundation. Sabi nila, it's a very real possibility that the U.S. will be in high-intensity conflict with China within the next 5 years. What did you think when they said that?
I will presume na nag-contingency planning sila. Actually, ang naririnig ko sa Indo-PACOM na nila is 2027 yung benchmark year nila. There are others naman na moving it down to further down to 2030. So this is a result of manifestation of the contingency planning nila. And it doesn't necessarily mean mangyayari yun, no? But part and parcel of defense planning kasi you identify the threat and you try to forecast yung trending. It doesn't mean na mangyayari yun. But that type of planning triggers a lot of resource management adjustment of the defense department.
Admiral, nung nagsalita si President Bongbong sa India, marami na surprise dun sa statement niya on Taiwan. From your vantage point, what was that about?
I think yung statement ni President Marcos was a realistic appraisal of a scenario wherein there is conflict in Taiwan. Hindi makakaiwas yung Pilipinas doon sa second order or third order effect ng conflict sa Taiwan. Masyadong intertwined eh. Number one, of course, yung migrant workers natin sa Taiwan. It will be a political issue for us kasi we need to evacuate them. Pangalawa, for a Taiwan scenario to happen, China needs to have sea control over Pasig Channel saka yung dagat somewhere in Batanes Group of Islands. Kung talagang extreme yun, the Chinese might occupy some islands in the Batanes Group of Islands to enforce yung sea control nila nung dagat between yung Northern Philippines saka yung Taiwan. So, whether we are involved or not, yung northern part of the Philippines, by the nature of the peace, are legitimate military objectives if China decides in the future to actually have a physical attack of Taiwan.
And in that instance, how prepared is the Philippines? I mean, coming back to yung forum where we were both at, sabi ng US they're looking to reallocate $150 billion to Indo-PACOM, right, under which the Philippines falls, and this is going to go towards hindi tanks, but more like anti-ship missiles, for instance, right, long-range anti-ship missiles. Do you see this happening, and how prepared are we?
Hindi naman tayo natutulog sa pansitan, kumbaga. So, we already projected that even during the time of President Duterte, yung ganong scenario. So, if you recall, the Navy redeployed yung one of Marine Battalion sa Norte. Tapos we tried to improve on our maritime domain awareness dun sa Mabulis. Okay?
Batanes.
Then, for several years already, or several iterations ng exercise Balikatan, doon natin dinadala sa Northern Philippines yung exercise. Why are we doing that? That is one form of a signaling tool. Parang sinasabi natin sa China, alam namin yung kung may plano ka bang masama dyan sa Taiwan, ito yung namin, yung response namin. My point rin is na ganito eh. We should not wait for that scenario to kumbaga manifest. What we need to do is create the conditions that will disrupt yung planning ng China or yung strategy niya para magdalawang isip siya. So that means we need to build on deterrence. So yung pag-acquire ng BrahMos years ago, that was planned years ago, was precisely for this type of scenario. Kasi the only way for China to physically attack Taiwan, they have to go by sea. Okay? They have to go by sea. And the BrahMos is designed for anti-ship missile system. Ang problema lang, kulang yan. So we need more. So dito papasok yung US. So kung nakita nyo, i-introduce na yung HIMARS, then later on yung Nimitz system. So these are anti-ship missile systems as well.
And it looks like it's not just the U.S., diba? I mean, today the Australian Defense Forces also just announced the largest joint drills with Philippine Armed Forces, which will carry on until the end of the month, if I remember correctly. So these are yung tinatawag nilang like-minded countries.
Yes,
May quad na tayo eh.
we are, kumbaga, we have to recognize na we are also a convening power, no? In the sense na because we are a frontline state in this geopolitical context that we are caught in, other countries recognize that we are the frontline state and they respond to us in terms of either assistance or international support.
Ang problema kasi, Admiral, ang dami nating the largest military exercises in our history nangyayari ngayon. Ang problema, yung ating defense capability, kahit yung nakukuha natin sa ating allies, ay parang a drop in the bucket. Ano, halimbawa, kahit yung BrahMos, yung HIMARS, siguro ilang minutes lang yan, depleted na yung ating missiles eh. So, paano tayo magkakaroon ng isang mas sustained military capability? Paano tayo with a 40 billion peso defense
I
budget?
was gonna say, the answer is increase your defense spending.
Yeah, na marami ron, pinambabayad lang natin doon sa mga previous military acquisitions natin. So parang medyo on the horizon, parang kulang na kulang yung ating military defense plan or strategy.
Tama ka dyan, Sec Ronald, no? Naalala ko tuloy yung aking professor noon sa masteral course. Kaya sabi niya, if you want to be a successful revolutionary, you must come up with a superior strategy to offset your minimal resources available to you. So dito yung pagalingan na lang yung strategy. But yung second point is yung supply chain, logistics. That's why kailangan natin i-establish talaga yung defense industry natin to support yung requirements natin. And third, important, we need to learn to fight in a cheaper way. Hindi pwede yung bibili natin equipment mga mahal, tapos parang bumili ng mahal na printer tapos ang good for one cartridge lang ng ink yung available. So we need to think out of the box in terms of the force planning saka yung modernization na upgrade natin.
Okay.
Yeah, huling tanong na lang, Admiral, anong relasyon lahat nitong pinag-uusapan natin sa impeachment? Joke. Joke. You don't have to answer.
Teka, baka mismot siya.
Sir Ronald, whether we like it or not, there is a nexus between our domestic politics and our greatest geopolitical challenge. And the nexus of that is, of course, the Duterte.
Yan, sumunod tuloy.
Sinagot.
Talaga.
Everything is connected. Everything. Pero buti pa si Admiral, hindi natutulog sa pansitan. Unlike
Some people, you know.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. That was former Navy Rear Admiral Ronald
Thank you, sir.
Jude Ong.
Salamat,
Thank you, sir.
Admiral.
Thank you, Admiral.
Salamat. Good afternoon.
Unlike who?
Tawa-tawa, pareho tayo may kuha niyan eh.
Ikaw, alam mo relasyon sa impeachment.
No, I'm innocent. Okay. I think that's all the time we have for today. But anyways, yun nga, we were talking about the flood
Play
control.
natin yung video pang Good Vibes mo ng Friday, oh.
Oh, yes. Oo pala, may-
Diyan, may video tayo, di ba?
May video si Ed.
I-play natin. No, yung banggaan, may nag-react dun sa banggaan. Of course, if somebody was injured, we
sympathize.
We sympathize. Pero merong nag-react dun sa pangyayari mismo eh. Let's play the video. I hope there's audio. Sige.
Most of you guys have seen the video of the collision between the Chinese Navy and the Coast Guard vessel. But then, I found this video.
So the
Watch.
medical personnel on board, should you need any assistance, we are willing to provide assistance.
Now, if this video is actually from the scene of the incident, then hats off, girl. You have done something what half the guys won't be able to do. When most of the guys would be standing on wobbly legs, this lady follows perfect protocol, does exactly what she's trained to do, what she's drilled to do. If I had a daughter, this is exactly what I would want her to be. Forget daughter, this is what I want my son to be. Forget it, this is what I want all you guys to be. And this is one more reason why Filipinos rock. Stay safe, guys.
Okay, yan si that guy Samarth Sinha, ship captain, master mariner at Bernhard Schultz Ship Management.
We should get the name of that first officer.
Hmm.
The one who radioed
Ayun na
for
nga, di ba?
assistance.
Although sabi ni Rafi, that's a different boat. That's not the boat he was on. Si Rafi kasi nakikita mo dun sa Rafi Tima, sorry. Yung nakikita mo dun sa video eh. That officer is from a different boat. Although the boat he was on also made the same radio call.
So they still did the right thing. They still followed protocol.
Hindi sila natutulog sa pansitan.
Unlike,
Biyernes na, tama na.
Tinatanong mo, Ronald, tinatanong mo yung reaction, magiging posibleng reaction ng mga post-collision reaction ng China. Yung mga kumakalat kasi chismis na medyo delikado pwesto ngayon ni Xi Jinping.
Yes.
So, yeah, a lot will depend on that.
Yes, pero parang nag-survive siya sa power struggle. Imagine na wala siya almost a month, di ba? Tapos sumulpot siya uli. Tapos magkakaroon sila ng a big military exercise next month to show na siya pa
Titignan
ay...
natin yung mga ano.
Okay.
she's
At saka
really-
usually, meron silang parang annual di ba?
Yeah,
that is
Assessment ng party.
yes.
That's
Titignan
the-
natin.
That's
Yes.
the story for another day. We will leave that there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining Storycon today. I'm Iwan Mtu, an editor-in-chief of the Philippine Star, Ronald Llamas, a resident political
Heckler.
Join us again
Heckler.
Monday, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.